We've worked for decades to develop a framework to understand gender-based violence and violence against women. And in a very meaningful and powerful way, we know that on the front line, when we are addressing and responding to survivors from an anti-racist analysis, we are getting at the heart of the matter. For those survivors that are Black, Indigenous, of color, racialized, immigrant, and refugee, they're experiencing violence because they're women, but also because they're of color. And this is what we want to disrupt.
The majority of indigenous, Black, racialized women who experience gender-based violence continue being oppressed, and services are not using an approach that really addresses the barriers that they face. And that only can be achieved if we work from an anti-oppression, intersectional feminist approach. I don't think that is other way to really affect change in the lives of different survivors.
As an Indigenous woman or as a woman of color, your life is dependent on this analysis. Canada as a state or as a whole is built in a history and rooted in a history of violence, which we refer to as colonization, which is not done, it's still going. The systems were built to eliminate all indigeneity of all people. That is present in the stories of violence that we hear from women who access our services. I think partly because of our analysis and partly because of our approach and because of who they see in our space and how we are reflective of their lived experiences.
It's extremely important to continue doing this work, to let these women know that there is a space for them to feel safe, to get the help that they need, and to be heard. As a Black woman myself, most of my life was about not fitting in, being in very predominantly white settings, and struggling a lot with my own identity. So finding an organization like this that wins awards like this, it's incredible, and it makes me feel like I have purpose and like I'm doing something important.
Anti-racism, anti-colonialism is integral, I think, to this work, because I just say sexism needs racism and racism needs sexism. That's how they work together, and they feed off each other.
Being able to do the work that we do every day, addressing those barriers and giving women the skills and the empowerment to move forward in our current system, in our current society, where they're faced with so many obstacles during the workforce and even as they move along and try to create families and status for themselves. It's overall very rewarding work.
Being an immigrant myself, I already come with a baggage of barriers that are put in front of me as soon as I land. Just breaking barriers through doing this work and being a visible minority in this community itself, something I never thought I would be able to do. These were opportunities that were never given to me. As a counselor, my job in the room is to undo those unsaid, unheard things that have been taken away from them just because of their race.
So anyone that looks different than the norm and is considered as the other, and how the other has been portrayed as threatening. So I think that's one of the reasons why it's so important to make these issues visible and to give voice for these survivors of color.
It means a lot to us to receive this award because it is a recognition of over 30 years of anti-racist practice, both in our frontline services, but also in our prevention and our intervention, and also for our work for social change. So thank you.